Hello, everyone. A very good evening to all of you. I'm sure it's another bright day, a Sunday, and a beautiful evening here in Colombo. It is, of course. I'm sure it's the same for the other parts of the country as well. And I welcome all of you to another beautiful Sunday evening with Pick a Book Sri Lanka. And as I welcome you, this is the Flip Side Corporate Edition webinar series. This is another great episode we are bringing to you today. And my name is Ashinsani Veerasinghe. I'll be the moderator for this session. To talk a bit about Pick a Book Sri Lanka, I would like to say, what is it all about? Just as the name says, it's all about picking a book and reading. And through this episode, it's not just the reading factor that we encourage from Pick a Book Sri Lanka. It encourages the reading habit by getting all participants to select a book, read and research on it thoroughly, and present a summary, which also helps to hone his or her public speaking, communication, and presentation skills. By doing this, Pick a Book not only inculcates the habit of reading, but also helps to impart a wealth of knowledge throughout. And the objective of this flip side corporate edition of the webinar series is to get the individual opinions and perspectives and also to share lessons from outstanding books. And from all of this, they envision to inspire change. So let's see how much of contribution we can do through this episode of Pick a Book Sri Lanka, the flip side to inspire change. And when, like I mentioned, it's all about sharing knowledge and perspectives about outstanding books. And talking about outstanding books, today also we're going to talk about two outstanding books. Lessons, it's all about sharing lessons and the presenter's point of views. And the two books are, the very first book we're going to talk about is The Answer, which talks about how to discover what you want from life, then make it happen. And it's done by the authors Alan and Barbara Pease. And the second book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is a very famous book that we keep on talking about. It talks about what the rich teach their kids about money that the poor and middle class do not. And the author is Robert T. Kiyosaki. So, by introducing the two books, let me now also introduce the two presenters who will be presenting the two books to you. Let me first welcome Kalaikavi Ragulan. To tell a bit about her, she is a digital marketing strategist and a director digital at InspireX, and it is an ideation and execution agency, and she's also the chief marketing officer at HealthX, a health and wellness startup. She is also the marketing degree holder from University of Colombo, and she has worked with clients from startups to SMEs to corporates and also helped them to achieve progressive steps in their marketing and business direction. A very good evening to you, Kavi.
Hi, Ashi. Thank you so much for inviting me for the flip side, and thank you for the introduction. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Great. It's my pleasure to have you today as well, Kavi. So, Kavi will be presenting the answer book to all of you. And meanwhile, we also have the second presenter. I would like to introduce her as well. She is Champa Pereira. She is head of finance in the SDB Bank and has more than 10 years' experience in finance. A graduate of the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura and a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Sri Lanka. She also holds an MBA from University of Colombo, and her hobbies are listening to music and reading books. She says her life mantra is everything is learnable. What a mantra to have in life. And she will be presenting the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book to all of you. A very good evening to Champa. Hi, Champa. I think we are facing a little bit of a connection issue there with you, Champa. Maybe we can try another connection. Right. Until she gets back on track with the connection. I mean, these are things we all face in today's world, don't we? The virtual world, we go beyond. It's okay to half dress up sometimes in front of the camera, but it's clearly not okay when your Wi-Fi goes wrong and the connection starts, bugging you. Champa, are you with us? All right. Until she gets back with her connection, let me start the conversation with Kavi on the book The Answer. So, Kavi, what makes this book special, though it seems to cover similar facts like, other books about secret, beyond the power of subconscious mind, magic, etc. What's so special about this particular book, The Answer?
Yes, so this is after reading this book, something that I realized is that this book is so practical compared to some of the other books that I read. Say now, in this book, the authors Alan and Barbara, they are couples, so they have shared all their life experiences, what they have done to achieve certain goals in their life, or how whatever the things they did to transform from where they were to where they wanted to be. So it's like a guide from like step 1, step 2, step 3, like that, so that now when we read, say for example, law of attraction, or maybe some other motivational and inspirational content, we get the idea, but we don't know sometimes how to do it practically. But this book guides throughout, like one by one, what you should do, say, and also it gives the scientific reason behind it. Say for example, there is a concept called RAS, reticular activation system. So
Yeah.
they clearly explain how that is connected with achieving a goal in our life. So this book is so practical, and very simple, very easy. So that I felt that that makes this book so simple and special, so that anyone, by just reading this book, they can achieve what they want in their life.
Oh, that's something amazing to hear. I'm sure going forward in the rest of the questions and the conversation, we'll get to know more about the book in depth. Now, moving into Champa. Champa, am I audible loud and clear to you? Yeah? All
Yeah,
good?
now it's okay. I'm sorry, I lost my connection for a while.
Oh, no problem. Hi, I hope you're doing
Now
great
it's
on this
okay, Kashi.
Sunday. I think she got
Yeah.
lost. Oh, okay. You're here.
Considering all the COVIDs and the situation,
Oh, yeah.
and
I mean, isn't that
since
the
our
reason why we are
bank actually
facing
been
these
busy
issues
with the
also?
weekends as well because of the thanks to government and moratoriums and all the things. So doing well during weekends, Shania.
Nice, nice. Great to have you on a Sunday evening for a good, informative conversation on books. So now, Champa, moving into your book about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the book you're presenting today.
Hello. Yeah. Can you hear? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
you are
there is a
audible.
delay, I guess.
Yeah. Have you logged in from two devices? Because I can also hear an echo.
Hello.
Unavoidable.
Okay. Yes, unavoidable again. Are we clear to you now? Right. Until Trump gets okay, we'll give her a little bit more time. Let's carry on with this book, The Answer, Kavi. Now,
Yep.
moving on to the next question that I have. The RAS you mentioned, um, sounds new. Can you explain what that is and how it helps in seeking the answer?
Yes. So this book comes with a promise how to take charge of your life and become the person you want to be. So simple as that. That's how the book starts. So
Okay.
this book is having one whole chapter for RAS, that is RAS, reticular activation system, where it explains how the brain works and how that biological process helps us to achieve what we want in our life. Maybe if you expect a transformation in your own self, you want to be a better version of yourself, so this book explains scientifically how that brain system will help. So that particular chapter starts with the quote, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the body can achieve. Say for example, the Olympic champions, like they think they set a goal of becoming first, second, third, and then they work towards it, and their body achieves it. So this particular quote was by Napoleon Hill in his world-renowned book Think and Grow Rich. So what is, if you ask me, what is reticular activation system? Is the brain's command and control system where the external information and external cues from the environment, when it enters the body, when it enters the brain, how it is dealt by this control system and sent to our conscious and subconscious mind. So reticular activation system act as a command center, or it filters whatever we see, hear, touch, smell, and it sends certain things to our conscious mind and we start acting on it. And certain things it sends to our subconscious mind thinking that it's not needed. So this book says every second we are exposed to 400 million bits of information, but whereas only like 2000 bits of information is only processed and sent to our conscious mind. Meaning every day, every second, 99.99 information that we are exposed to is not processed by our subconscious conscious mind, and it's sent out. So the book says if we program our RAS, that is reticular activation system, it will process the information only that is relevant for us to achieve a goal in our life or the transformation that we are looking into. So they give an example. Say, for example, if you decide that you want to buy this particular brand, this particular model, this color car, for example, soon after you decide that, everywhere, wherever you go on the road or in the parking slots or maybe on an advertisement or magazines or everywhere, you will start seeing that car. But actually, this car was already there in the road and on the commercials and all. But the moment when you decide that you want it, you will start spotting it. So your RAS will start gathering all the information that is in line with what your mind wanted. So that's how it is explained. So that is the control mechanism that we have. And the book says we can program it so that it will act in favor of us to achieve what we want in our life.
I think that's something amazing, isn't that? Like how the mind works. It's a beautiful process. I have also read towards the mindfulness factors of life, and I'm sure this is something. Okay, the terms we use might be different, but in the book Secret, where they bring out
Exactly.
visualization or the law of attraction, right?
Yes.
How we say, you tell your mind, this is what you want. Like you said, exact, model of the vehicle, exact color of it, and I'm going to have it by then. Like this is how a lot of people achieve their dreams. We ask them to, visualize it every morning and go towards it. And
Yes.
and this is also, I'm just adding into the conversation. I think this is also where the social media algorithms have also, eaten up our minds sometimes. Where people think it's the technology, but yeah, of course, when it comes to social media, it's an algorithm that works. When you search for something, it comes. But the power of the mind is way beyond how you actually start noticing when you put yourself in line with the mind. So yeah, I'm sure this is going to be a great conversation, and probably I would look forward to read as well. Champa, are you with us now?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm
Oh,
sorry for that.
great.
Yeah.
No problem, no problem. I don't think we have to be sorry about it. I mean, it's out of your control as well, right? The signals, and it's out. So, Champa, to start the conversation with you, now the book that you're presenting today, Rich Dad and Poor Dad, it was written by Robert T. Kiyosaki. And the book sold over 32 million copies in more than 51 languages across more than 109 countries. Now, tell us a bit about the author, and do you find him as an interesting author yourself?
Yes, I think that if I say who is Robert Kiyosaki, actually he is an entrepreneur, educator, and investor who believes the world needs more entrepreneurs who will create jobs.
Right.
Actually, he was born in 1947 in the territory of Hawaii. Robert Kiyosaki is one of he's a co-founder of the Rich Dad Company, a financial education company, and the creators of the Cash Flow game, which is a free online investing game that makes learning to invest fun. Robert is an author of more than 26 books, including this Rich Dad and Poor Dad series of books, which has been translated into 51 languages and sold over 41 million copies island-wide.
It's
If I
amazing.
say I find him as an interesting author, that is because of few reasons. I started reading this book in few years ago. What I
Mhm.
really captured my interest was the very simple and interesting way he communicated the fundamental principles of investing and money management. Given my job and professional background, I am very familiar about the subject matter, but I have never before come across the way he presented these ideas, especially linking to management of our personal finances. Another reason is that while he's writing, he used to repeat the same point. Because of that, some readers actually criticize his the way of writing, but I find it as a very useful, because once he repeats again and again, it make me a revision of the subject matter what he's going to say. Also, that one time actually he told that he failed his English language test in school.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
Yeah, he is not be a best writing author, but he's definitely a best-selling author simply because he knows how to make ideas stick in our mind for ages. So these are the main factors I really find interesting about this author. Actually, he has written series of books. Actually, I got used to read those things in regularly.
Mhm. I think that's amazing. His story is an inspiration. It's that's the story there itself, right? Where you fail your English paper, but then become a bestseller, the author around the world. Now, in the same book of Rich Dad and Poor Dad, Champa, I would like to ask you the question: how has the author categorized or characterized rather the difference between a rich dad and a poor dad? Because I'm sure a lot of people might have lot of definitions. How has the author put it out?
Yeah, while starting these books, actually, he has the first chapter itself. He has characterized the difference between rich dad and poor dad. Uh, that aim of this book is to inspire people on how to become financially independent. At the age of 9, Robert decided that he wants to be a rich person because he got hurt due to one of his rich friends called Jimmy. Jimmy went on a vacation with his rich friends, but Robert and Mike was not invited due to Robert and Mike coming from poor or middle class families. This hurts Robert, and he decided to become a rich person at the age of 9. That's how the story started. This is actually not a fictitious story. This is the real story of Robert Kiyosaki. The he wanted to have some advices from his biological dad. It's called here he named his biological dad as poor dad, but he couldn't able to give proper advices because he's a very educated person. He's holding a PhD degree, and he's a government servant. But he actually used to work for money. Not in his case, money doesn't work for him, but he works for money. Therefore, he couldn't able to give proper advices to Robert. But after that, Robert went to his best friend, Mike's dad. In this book, he's named as the rich dad. Uh, so he is actually he only passed grade 8. He couldn't complete his education, but he sees education as a very important factor in human's life. But he actually thought money should work for you. You should not work for money. So he getting advices from him that in his book actually at the first, as I said, the first chapter that Robert to describe how poor dad and how his rich dad gave ideas, gave advices uh, to his life to become a better person for this person, something like that. And in poor dad story, he wants Robert to get a good job in a good company, and he always said that love of money is the root of evil. he doesn't want to talk about money because he doesn't know about money. And other thing is, he used to think the government should take care of themselves. Government should pay for them, government should pay their medical bills, government should give insurance, and they give that pension and all. So government should take care of them. He therefore his brain is not working to earn money. And also once if Robert asked something from him, he always used to say I can't afford it. But he always encouraged Robert to play a safe game. He doesn't want to take any risk, but play safe in the field. And as I said, he asked Robert to work for money, not money work for him. But in case of Rich Dad, he always asked Robert to create his own company. And also, he believed that lack of money is the root of evil. In contrast with Poor Dad's attitude, if Robert asked something from his rich dad, he used to say, "I don't think about how can I afford it." Even though he is not able to give that to Mike, but he asked Mike to think the way he can afford it. And also he teach Mike to manage risk. You have to take risk and you have to manage it very well. That's the only way. If you want to become a rich person, you can make it happen. And also he wants Mike to teach how money works for him. He actually told him there is a difference between poor and being broke. Broke is temporary and poor is eternal. So that's the advices he got from both dads. And at the end of the first chapter, actually, I think that Robert decided to get advices from his dad because he wanted to be a rich and he don't want to be like his poor dad, and he decided to take his dad's advices.
Right. I think that's a very well explanation that was given about how you characterize a rich dad and a poor dad. And I really like how it says, it's all about, the book is all about how you work for money and not letting money work for you. I think that's amazing. That's something I also live by, where hard work pays off well. And when you have too much money, also you just don't know what to do when your life goes halfway. Also, Champa, I think Javi and I would both agree on this fact. There is a little bit of disturbance from the sound factor. And as I can see, your screen has also gone into a frozen mode currently. So if you have a backup connection, why don't we try that as we talk to Kavi in the next question? All right. With that, I would like to move into Kavi with the next question. I have heard, and what the conversations we've had before on this book is that the book has a lot of stories and real life experiences of the authors, Alan and Barbara. Can you share some interesting stories which has, blown your mind or which you find interesting? Kavi, I think you're on mute.
Sorry. Yes, almost every chapter has a story. So some of those are like their real life experience, the problems they had, and then how they came across, how they succeed. And also they have shared some stories that they are friends and, known people. So today I'll share you two stories, share with you. First story is about an electrician called Hank. So this electrician, Alan met this electrician at a conference. So Alan, he himself is a speaker. So he has gone for this session, and then Hank was one of the participants. So Alan started talking about one of his life experience in setting a goal and achieving it. So in one of the chapters, they explain when we set goals, we have to have 3 compartments in the goal setting process. That is ABC. So A is like very important one, say career, family, things like that. And then B should be the moderate ones which we want to achieve, but nothing, something which is not very urgent. And the third one is C category. In long term, we want to achieve that. So he was telling that in the conference, and he was telling, I had this one particular goal, that is to visit a particular ancient red rock called Uluru in near Alice Spring, Central Australia. So this particular place is very well renowned for its magnificent looks, especially sunset and sunrise. So he had that in his C box. He call it boxes. So this C box had it. So he has set that goal. I'm going to go to this place and see the magnificent sunset or sunrise. And it was there. And after setting that goal, 3 years, when he was in a particular cafe and when he was having coffee, he overheard two people having a discussion about a conference that is going to happen in the same place called Uluru. Sorry. So what happened was, like that cafe was really noisy and all, because this was set in his goal. He said his RAS pointed it, somehow picked it, and he heard it. So somehow he went and he excused himself and started speaking to these organizers. So they explained, okay, this is how this conference is going to be. We are organizing this. And he was in that trade conference business. So somehow he made a couple of calls, and he sold himself as one of the speakers, guest speakers for that particular conference. And somehow he went and climbed the mountain, and he achieved his goal. So when he was explaining that, this electrician who was in the among the audience, he raised a concern saying that, Alan, you are a speaker, so you are in this conference business. So it was so easy for you to go and somehow sell yourself as a speaker, and you went. But take me, I am an electrician. If I have to go to Central Australia from America, I will need at least $3,000, and I don't see this goal setting will work for me. Then Alan said, okay, now see, what you are telling is about how to do it, but what I am telling is what I want in life. So just like what Champa said short while ago, the rich dad thinks about what he wants, but whereas the poor dad, he stopped himself, or he limit himself, because he thinks, how am I going to afford it? So the same happened with him as well. So Alan said, okay, stop that thought. Don't ever think about how am I going to go there or how I'm going to do it, but set this as your goal, write it down, and start programming your RAS. Same like what I said earlier.
Yes.
So very skeptical. Hang was very skeptical. He wasn't believing at all. But anyway, he took the advice, and he went and wrote down it as one of his goals, that he wants to somehow go to that place and climb the mountain and witness the beautiful sunrise. So he did it, and he agreed that every month he will give an update. So after 6 months, he gave an update to Alan, and he said, everywhere I go, I am seeing something about this particular place. I'm getting, I can see some cheap tickets, air tickets offers for this place. And I'm seeing some documentary geo channels. I can see this place. Likewise, he gave an update. And he started talking about this with his friends as well. So he was thrilled, because something that was never existed in his mind, now he is spotting it everywhere. So he started talking about this with his friends, and he was telling, somehow I have to go to this place. I'm going somehow. Likewise, he started the conversation. And after a year, one of his friends forwarded a flyer. It was a vacancy for skilled people. They are recruiting skilled people, including electricians, for a particular project. It's a long 3 months project in the same location, which is very closer to this the mountains location. So he was terrified. So he never expected that he will get a chance. He applied for that vacancy. He got the job. So he got paid for 3 months there for the work, as well as he achieved his goal. So what Alan is explaining through this story is, if you want something in your life, just think that you want it and set the goal. Never ever think about how am I going to do it. So that is where we limit ourselves. That is where we fail in achieving that goal. So this was one a very nice story that I really like, because especially our mentality, like compared to Western people, the Asians, we have this habit of how we always think, right? Like
Yeah,
if
that's
you
right.
do
That's
something.
right.
Yes. So I felt this is so relatable because even I have done it. Most of us would have done it. So we think,
Yeah.
how am I going to do? And that's the point. It gets stopped. Lots of our dreams, it's the same. So that is one story. So if I have time, I can tell another story as well. Can I, or shall we go
Uh,
with Champa?
we'll go with Champa, and
Yes.
as the time permits, because time is a
Sure.
restriction we are facing today as well. I think this story, I also think we need a little bit of time to grasp this story as well, because it's a beautiful story.
Yes.
Well, the concept behind, to be honest, I have also applied that, and I have seen results myself at
Yes.
certain experience of my life. And since I have seen results, I keep on practicing it. And sometimes you have very big dreams. The very first thing sometimes comes into your mind is, I am not that rich. Do I have money to afford that and this?
Exactly.
But you have no clue when it comes to that position. Somehow or the other, you have cash,
It
or
happens.
it's
Yes.
not even on a loan. You actually have money to buy these things. So this is amazing. It's all about imagining that you're already living that dream. The path
Exactly.
leads to that. I'm connecting with this story more because since I have relevant experiences. Now moving on to Champa on the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think these two books are also connecting today. Of how
Yes.
you have to work for things and how you get things done for you. It's amazing. So carrying the conversation with Champa, what are the lessons that the author teaches us in this book, and how can they help us in our lives?
Yes, Sachin, that this book actually, this is more into the financial education. Robert says that he distinguished the difference between asset and liabilities very clearly. In
Mhm.
some cases, actually, before reading this book, some of my assets, some of my liabilities, I thought those as my assets, but it's really not. I will give you some example for that one. If we do some profession, actually they are our salary, uh, the salary, and if we have some assets, we can generate more income out of our assets. Uh, let's say that if we start to do a job, we get our salaries. What we will think first, what we should do. If we go to work more 3 or more months, more than 3 months. We think about we after that we will think about to build our own house, buy a new car, buy a watch or something like that. Are those
Mhm.
really asset of us? Let's say that if we apply for a housing loan and we build a house, whether that house will generate income for us.
Mhm.
Sometimes actually we heard some people are saying my house is my one and only asset. Those are not your assets, those are your liabilities. If you build a house to live, you have to have some maintenance costs. You have to paint, you have to do some renovations then and there.
That's right.
So those
Yeah.
are actually liabilities. You are not generating any income out of that. Same like
Mhm.
if you buy a car, you have some kind of maintenance cost. You have to feed fuel into your car. You have to get insurance annually. You have to do the licensing, all the things. Those are actually we have to spend lot more and more once you acquire your liabilities, not like assets. So Robert says that you have to, while you are working, you are getting some salary. You have to first think about how to generate income. You have to invest in income generating assets first. You can go to stock market and invest in shares. You have to have some fixed deposit. You have to invest in real assets. You can acquire some intellectual properties and gain some royalties. So build up your asset books first, and it will generate income for you. After you become some kind of a healthy situation, only you can focus on focusing on acquiring the liability. So that's the very important lesson he has taught during his books. Apart from that, actually, he spoke about two types of emotions which drive or control you. One is the fear, another one is the greed or desire. People are actually fear to fear if they earn salaries, if they generate some income, they fear to lose it. That's why they cannot invest in any some other sources. They actually fear to lose money. But if you fear to lose it, you cannot be a rich person. That's another. That's one one lesson he wanted to mention throughout this book. Other one is desire. He actually sometimes he considers desire as a very useful thing. If people only greed and desire only, they will invest more and more. But if you, in some cases, you actually work hard for your company to increase your work. Not sometimes actually we don't work hard. We actually demanding from our employers to raise our paychecks. So that's why we in Sri Lanka we a lot of strikes and salary increments demands and all the things are going on. So,
Yeah.
that Robert says, don't blame others, don't see others as well. Fault is yours. You have to invest your money in a very wise manner. Then only you can generate your income. That is the most important lesson he has mentioned in this, throughout this book. So in order to do this one, there are a lot of other things he has talked about. For an example, we have to have family. If you are doing some company, you have to hire more smart people than you. Then only you can learn from others. If you smart below people than you cannot gain anything. So he emphasized that one as well. And also he encouraged us to do operate a company. Because he said if you operate a company, you can get some tax benefits. They say that if you consider a company, they earn first and they spend. After that, only they pay tax. But we as individuals, we earn money and pay taxes whatever we spend. So those actually these are very minor things we did, but we have to explain why these are very important.
Important. Yeah, I believe these are not really minor lessons. These are great lessons that we should, it might look very minor, but when we start practicing this and be consistent of, especially the income handling, the financial stability is very important than anything. So, live with what you have and then working towards what you want to have in life is something that I think we should all practice. So I don't think we should really consider them as minor, but along the long run, these are the ones we live with at the end of the day. So amazing explanation, Champa. Now moving into Kavi, to the book The Answer. Now I'm sure what I grasped from everything that you told us so far is that this book gives very a practical perspective about life and how to look at life and take things forward. So if I ask you to list down things that we need to do to take charge of our lives and become the person we always want to be, I'm sure the author brings out some aspects on how to discipline yourself and go in the right track. What does it say? You're on mute, Kavi.
Sorry. uh, so uh, uh, so the book says mainly it touches the concept of goal setting. So like now say if we want to transform ourselves and become a better version of ourselves, so that is a it's a big goal, and then inside that you will have multiple small goals that you set to reach that particular destination. So what happens is this book is like so practical, and let me share certain things. Now we know this concept of the power of affirmation, visualization, and then habit installation to achieve or transform ourselves. So these are something that we get to know through so many other sources. Motivational speakers touch about it, books tell about that, so many things. And I'll just list down a couple of things that we should do, or like very minor things, but which will give bigger results. So one is actually the authors are saying if we want to achieve a goal, we have to handwrite it instead of keeping it in a digital form. So the scientific reason that they give is, when we type something on our laptop or mobile phone, it's just 8 finger movements is involved, and which doesn't create lots of neural connection to our brain, connects back to our brain. But whereas when we write, the book says there are 10,000 movements happening when we write something, and it produces almost thousands of neural connection to our brain, from writing to our brain. So what happens is, as I already said, the RAS is there. So these neural connections will get registered in our RAS, and we instruct our RAS to, okay, this is what I want in my life, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, likewise. So it will start working for us to achieve what we really need. So that is one tip that they give. And they are, like they said, 42% is you are likely to achieve that goal if you write. So that is one good point that they give. Second one is, this particular fact is verified, and they are confirming it through a research as well. So there was a research happened in US. A set of millionaires and billionaires were interviewed, and it was a very long research that they have done. And at the end of the research, what they found is, only difference between these millionaires and billionaires is, the billionaires used to handwrite their goals, whereas millionaires, they don't. So it sounds weird as well, but then again, like now, if something is published in a book, means definitely it's verified, right? So that is something very good. So likewise, there are small, very interesting informations and techniques to make sure that we achieve what we want. So that makes this book so special.
I think goal writing, like I said, that's exactly one of my experiences as well. And a lot, and just like you said, it is verified content. And when talking about mindfulness, also they say not just write. I'm just adding into the conversation. So not just write the goal, but have that time, like where we learn how to have a smart goal. Like be specific, have a timeline, and everything that it says. On this particular day, I will win this, or on this particular day, I will have this. It works in all aspects, and I'm sure this particular book and everything that we talk and share knowledge, and a wealth of knowledge that we share on such episodes today, it's not just applicable to your professional or career. This is to the public who are listening to us right now. It's all about everything that we learn. It applies to each and every aspect of our lives. How I take it is, even to have a good meal, to cook your own meal. You just imagine the previous night, okay, tomorrow my lunch is going to be so perfect, and everyone's going to enjoy this. So this applies in all aspects. While I have the conversation, I think, Champa, we have a small sound interruption from your end. Is it okay if we can mute while the conversation is going on, and then unmute when you speak? Yeah, very good. Okay. Again, the virtual world, it's funny at times. Now, okay, the next question I would anyway love to continue with Champa on. The book talks about one of the most controversial themes is the notion that many of life's most important lessons are not taught in schools. I think not just the book, I think we also keep saying this, the school doesn't really teach you everything that you want to, how to deal with life. Does the school teach you? No. I would say no. So how does the book propose to correct this problem of, that many of life's most important lessons are not taught in school? What does the author say about it, and what mechanisms has the author put out?
Robert actually claimed that the basic perspective and attitudes about the money not addressed, that not taught in our schools. Actually, this books mention about the year in 1956, that was 19th century. Now we are in the 21st century. Nothing has changed so much. Actually, when they talk about the school, they actually teach about the theories and textbooks and just where the memories of the students are corrected by means of conducting exam. So he think that here how money works for people and how to become a rich person in the society, and how people can manage the money. Uh, uh, they are not teaching at our school level. So the, once Robert wants to be a rich person, he's rich dad. He doesn't want to have a classroom session. Actually, at that time, he wanted to. He actually asked Robert and Mike to work in one of his shops for 3 hours. So by means of that working experience, he converted into the lesson. So that's how actually he taught in his life. So Robert claimed that is very important. He said it is very important for everyone. So in order to overcome these issues, actually he produced these series of books, and he conducted promotional seminars, and also he developed a cash flow game. That is not another way to learn how to money works for you. So those things actually he tested, and but in our society, actually we have to have our own areas. First thing I would say, actually we have to invest, not spend all your income to your expenses, but do as a habit. Please invest in your possible areas. So that is only way to learn.
Sorry, my mic was on. Yes, thank you so much for that answer. And is there any way, because there is I think the public is also referring to a sound interruption. Are we loud and clear to you? Okay, now it's good. Champa,
Yeah,
would you
now
like? Yeah, now the interruption is gone away. Yeah. Okay, until she checks that. What I would recommend is now don't touch any cable or anything. Now the sound interruption is not
simple as that.
simple as that. Don't touch technology, anything. Just keep your hands away. Okay, sometimes it's laptop's technical errors work with a slap sometimes also, slap on the laptop solves all problems. Now, carrying the conversation with Kavi, we're coming to the last segment of this episode today. What else did you really like about this book? And I would like to know how much of an effect or an impact did the book had on you, your personal life.
So I would say, no, there are so many things, like I said, but one main thing is this book. I don't know whether you can see it. It's a workbook, actually. So as I said, that ABC, like when we set goals and all. So it, like while reading itself, can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah. So likewise, every important chapter has a workbook section as well. So it's like while you read, you can set your goals, or you can mark deadlines. Like, okay, I'm going to achieve this in another 3 months' time, and you set the date. So likewise, so that is one very good thing about this book. And this book is like full of quotes. Now we in WhatsApp and all, we used to get some nice motivational quotes in the mornings and all, right? So this book is full of that. Every chapter, it's like it has now say I don't know whether you can say it like this, like very beautiful quotes with the respective authors' names are given. So it's like while you're reading, it gives you a little bit of a break to think and process, and then continue. So the way the book has been written and the way it has been compiled is very easy. So that made me to actually implement certain things. So I would say that is the impact this book had on me, because when we read other books, sometimes with the reading, with the life getting busy and all, we just stop, right? But here we actually take an action, because it's done in a way. So that is the impact this book had on me.
Wow, I think I'm gonna buy this book as well. Well, I never put myself forward as a reader because I don't know, for some reason I take years to finish one book. But since recently, ever since I started, putting myself into mindfulness, I've realized reading, actually works. Your brain starts to work in a different way when you start reading. And I'm trying to discipline myself to read a page a day and take it forward. And like I said, I'm not a person who will read into fiction, but this is an area I'm interested in, especially because that's some area I'm working towards as well. So yes, I'm gonna buy this book.
Great. So I have inspired
You just
someone
saw
to
the
read
book.
this book.
You saw the
That's
book to
great.
me today.
Yes, that's great.
So, Champa, coming into the final question with you, I would like to ask, from everything that you have learned from this book and of the impact that it had on you, if somebody asks you, what is that one thing, let's say a younger person asks from you, what is that one thing I can do in my financial life that has the greatest potential to make everything else easier or unnecessary? What advice would you give them by referring to this book?
Yes, I feel that the first advice actually I can give them by means of this book is that if you want to be rich, think big, think differently, and accumulate your asset, income generating assets. That's the most important thing everyone has to do if they want to become financially healthy. Uh, while going through this journey, everyone has to make use of their time. Every second is very important, and identify opportunities where everyone else misses. There are some opportunities we go by what others do, but don't go by what others do. Make your own judgment and do things. So those are the things actually I would able to give as an advice to those who actually want to be financially stable.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. So since we're sort of done with the questions and conversations, and I would like to since only Kavi got to share one story out of all, I would like to give a bit of time to listen to another inspiring story out of the book The Answer before we wrap up for the day. So briefly, if you can just give us another interesting story, Kavi.
Sure. And so this is another story I took from the book. So this is about Alan's and Barbara's a failure that they had. So what happened was they hired a wrong accountant to manage their investments. So I actually chose this story because it connects with what Champa also talking about. So they have hired a wrong person, and he had been lying, and these two didn't, they were busy with their conferences and books and stuffs. They didn't notice, and finally they figured out actually it was $2 million were, I mean, like they lost almost $2 million, and they had to pay, I mean, sell all their assets to pay the debts. And then finally they came to square one after 20 years of earning and saving because of that mistake they did. So what happened was, Alan says that for 2 years he was totally depressed, and because he was depressed, his health became very bad, and he had this self blame, right? We blame ourselves for what happens and all. So he was like that. So then like things were not happening, and he was always dwelling on the past. He was thinking, I should have done this, I should have checked this, the usual stuffs. So but one day suddenly Barbara was like, she's also depressed. More than him, she is depressed because he is depressed. Like, when men are a bit depressed, wives can't handle it. It's a different type of a stress.
That's right.
So she said, Alan, set a deadline for your depression, or set a deadline for your negative thoughts. He was shocked. Like, he was like, how can I put a deadline for what I feel? But then he also decided, it happened on a Tuesday after 2 years, on a Tuesday. So he decided, okay, let me set this Friday as the last day for me to think negative. So he somehow he was able to make that mind, because what he's telling there is, if we are going through something bad or like negative, like our mind goes to this negative self-blame, and it finds comfort in that. So that's what happening to him. He was very comfortable in blaming himself, rather trying to do something new and come out of this problem. So he decided, okay, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. And he decided, and that Friday was his 45th birthday. So on
Okay.
that day at 4 o'clock, he decided, okay, this happens on the Tuesday. So he sets the deadline Friday, 4 o'clock in the evening. And that time when they sat together, and he said that is the very big moment in his life. He felt a sense of liberation. And then he realized, all these days I was thinking about what happened, but after that, because I set that deadline, I was able to think what I am going to do now. So now he started thinking about the future. So after that, again, they became very famous. The couple became very famous, and they started. Even this book was written after that success. So
Oh,
setting deadline is another very big thing for even negative thoughts. So there is another story that I wanted to share.
that's amazing. So this is exactly why I paused you back then, so that we could end today's episode with another inspirational story from out of this book. And I would like to say you're a very, a great storyteller. You are.
Thank you.
So with that, ladies and gentlemen, and this was a episode of ladies. I also just realized, and all ladies are in blue also today. Very well combined as well. Now we have come to the end of today's episode on the Flip Side Corporate Edition. Thank you so much for joining, to all the ones who are joining us live, and to the ones who are watching us later, maybe. I'm sure you gained a lot of knowledge, and as the presenters shared the author's perspective and also their own perspectives and their experiences, we had a lot to learn today. So our bag is full for this Sunday, and we're ready to start a new Monday from tomorrow. So, just to give you a summary, we covered the two books: The Answer, How to Discover What You Want from Life, Then Make It Happen, written by Alan and Barbara Pease. And then we also covered the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, What the Rich Teach Their Kids About Money That the Poor and Middle Class Do Not, written by Robert T. Kiyosaki. So, thank you so much to the presenters. Thank you, Kavi. Thank you, Champa, for joining with us this evening and sharing your knowledge. And it was honestly a beautiful conversation today amidst the technical issues. I mean, those are irrelevant. It's out of our control. But thank you so much for joining for a good conversation today.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks. I enjoyed a lot. Thank you.
Truly enjoyed the session, and thank you to Pick a Book Sri Lanka as well. And like I mentioned at the start, Pick a Book envisions to, as their vision, they say, we inspire change is what they keep saying. And I'm sure through this episode, we help them achieve that as well. So we would like to see you soon with another episode of Pick a Book Sri Lanka Flipside Corporate Edition. Until then, see you. Have a great week from tomorrow. Stay home, stay safe. Good evening.
See you.